Hello guys, and welcome to another beautiful day. We have an interesting topic for you today, introduction to clay and pottery. Okay, at the end of the class, I want to believe that we should be able to achieve these objectives. Number one, to recognize clay and to define clay. Clay is something I want to believe you know. So we need to recognize it around us and to also define clay. Secondly, to mention sources and types of clay that we have around us, to state the methods of preparing our clay for use. Again, to describe pottery and to discuss various methods of making pottery. To broadly highlight the uses of clay and pottery in our environment. So these are what we'll be talking about today. So what is clay? I want to believe you have seen clay before, but how do we define a clay? Clay is made from earth, water, and fire. Don't forget that. Clay is different in so many colors. Clay is different. And there's one thing about clay that makes it different from other types of soil. You know, we have types of soil, and one of them is clay. And what is that thing? It is called plasticity. Okay, we'll be talking about that in our class. So as you can see here, what is clay? Clay is produced from the earth that when it's heated, it becomes very hard, but when it is still in raw form, it is very, very wet. So we'll be talking about this later, the chemicals and clay, physical clay, structures, and the rest like that. Okay, what are the sources of clay? That is, how do we get our clay? Okay, we can get clay from riverside, from swampy area, from water banks, termite hills, rocks, e-bays, and the rest like that. So what are the types of clay? So we have the what we call earthenware, then we have what we call stoneware, we also have what we call porcelain. So these are the three types of clay that we'll be discussing more in our Google class. How do we prepare our clay? So we have two methods, two major methods. The first one is called dry method, okay, while the second one is called wet method. Dry method means that we have to make sure that we have our clay in form of powder. Okay, how to do all these things, we're talking about it in our Google class. Then wet method is when you have it in form of, a kind of paste before we now get our work from it. Now, we'll also go to what we call pottery and pottery making. What is pottery? I want to believe you know that. Now, pottery is also called ceramics. Okay, it's a craft produced from clays to make some domestic utensils, such as pots, flower vases, plates, bowls, and the rest like that. Okay, so we'll be discussing more on that. Then making our pottery, we have different techniques or methods of making our pottery. The first one is called the pinch method. We have the slab method, we have the coil method, and the wheel method. I have some pictures there in the Google class to explain most of these things, and you will enjoy it later. Okay, then what are the steps of making this thing in pottery or ceramics? We have the clay. How do we solve our clay? That's first number one. Secondly, we have how to prepare our clay, how to mold our objects, how to decorate our objects, how to dry, how to fire it, and how to glaze it. We'll be discussing this thing in our Google class. Then, lastly, what are the uses of clay? Number one, we use clay for so many things, for pottery, for domestic aspects, for decorative aspects, to construct, and the rest like that. Okay, so we'll meet in the class to discuss more on this topic. And if you have any question, I'll be there with you to answer all your questions. Thank you very much, and God bless you.